So we're going to use proportions to solve this percent problem. First, we need to write 40% as a fraction because we need to set up a proportion. Okay, so we've already done that. 40% is 40 out of 100 because percent is out of 100. And we need to set up a proportion, which means that two fractions are equal, or two ratios. So 40 out of 100 is going to be equal to something, which we don't know, out of 80, right? Because 40% of 80 is what we're trying to find. So something out of 80 will give us 40%, okay? So we're gonna find the scale factor. So we need to figure out what we're going to do with 100. Are we gonna multiply or divide by something to get 80? So do you think it's gonna be multiplication or division?
Division.
Okay, division, because the number is getting smaller. So how can you figure out the scale factor? Any ideas? We can divide 100 by 80, and we get 1.25. Okay, so does that mean that 100 divided by 1.25 is equal to 80? Yes. Good. That's the missing factor. So if we are dividing the denominator by 1.25, what do we have to do to the numerator?
Multiply it by,
Divide it by, good. Whatever you do to the denominator, you must do to the numerator because these two fractions are equal. Okay, so we're going to do 40 divided by 1.25. Okay, and we're using the scale factor to find the missing term. And we got 32. So that means that 32 out of 80 is equal to 40 out of 100. 32 out of 80 equals 40%. So 40% of 80 is 32. Okay? So the answer is 32. So we used scale factor to solve that. We used proportions to solve that one. Okay, so for this one, we want to know what percent is 2 out of 8, right? We want to know what is that out of 100, which means what percent is that. So I like how you drew the arrow from here to here because we need to know what's unknown. So let's go from the known to the unknown. I could rewrite this as 2 over 8 equals something out of 100, right? It doesn't matter which order we write it in. And we need to figure out how we get from 8 to 100. So 8 times something will give us 100. What did you get?
12.5.
Good. 8 times 12.5 is 100. So what do we need to do with the numerator?
Multiply by 12.5.
Good. So 2 times 12.5 is, what do you get? 25. Okay, so that means that 2 out of 8 equals 25 out of 100, or I can say that 2 over 8 equals 25% because percent's out of 100. Okay, good. Another way that we could have checked this is, I don't know if you recall that we've done this before, 2 over 8, I'm going to write that as a decimal. How do we turn a fraction into a decimal?
You divide numerator by denominator.
Good. So we're going to take 2 and divide it by 8, and we get 0.25. If I want to know what that is as a percent, well, percent out of 100, multiply by 100 or move the decimal 2 places to the right, and we get 25%. Same answer. Okay, so we could solve it using proportions, and then you can check your answer after, turn it into a decimal, and then multiply it by 100 to get a percent.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.